What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your stop for your Power Rangers and Super Sentai review and news right here on our YouTube page, A-Plus Morphinominal. As always, it's I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, back once again, ladies and gentlemen. I got to start adding Kamen Rider to that opening also, to be honest with you, because we do have Kamen Rider Saber here's review as well. We have both episodes actually doing a fantastic job by Stuart, mind you guys. So definitely go ahead and check out his stuff. But what's going on, everybody? I hope your weekend is going great wherever you certainly are in the world. I'm out here today out in Fort Worth, certainly enjoying my weekend. I certainly hope you guys are also. Power Rangers is back, baby. Power Rangers is back. I'm going to be honest. This is the first time that I feel like the hiatus hasn't felt that long to me. Maybe because I feel like we've had so much to certainly talk about from that time period. Maybe me trying to duck and dodge Beast Morphers spoilers this entire time. But it was quite a success, honestly. And to be honest with you guys, also, I did come on here a couple times and say, while I haven't been completely spoiled, there's maybe like three things that have been spoiled for me. And honestly, two of them were already in this one episode. So now I'm looking so forward to the remainder of the season because I'm just thinking to myself, man, everything else at this point for me is unknown. So I cannot wait to certainly get into it, guys. So we're going to be breaking down for you guys Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 2, Episode 9, The Return, guys. That's right. It was titled The Evox Snare. We're going to be getting into that for you guys today. We've also got some updates in regards to the Hasbro Pulse Con 2020, which is set to go ahead and begin next week also. And then on top of that, we even got some Drakkon New Dawn to preview and some other news. And of course, your live viewer questions. Guys, we're going to do something different here for our live viewer questions, certainly going forward. If you do have a live viewer question, submit them over to our Gmail account. Send us an email, guys, aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. Feel free to submit your live viewer questions going forward. And you can feel free to submit your questions throughout the entire week. If there's something that you see that happens throughout the week that you want to talk about on the show, if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, shoot me an email, guys, with your question that you want to go ahead and have answered on the air, and I'll pick and choose certainly which ones we definitely go ahead and highlight. But for our live viewer questions going forward, since we don't have a community tab as of right now, we do have an email account, aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. You can go ahead and submit your questions over today if you want to. I know somebody already, I think it was Johnny or somebody might have sent over a question on our Facebook page, so I'll go ahead and remember that. If you want to go ahead and submit it on Facebook, that's more than fine. But going forward throughout the week, guys, if you want to have a question answered live on air, certainly go ahead and submit them over to our Gmail account, aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely go ahead and do so. And then we'll get to your questions towards the end of today's episode. Who's in our live chat, by the way? Let's go ahead and see who we got up in here today. We got Forever Grin. Happy early birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't your birthday tomorrow, Forever, if I'm not mistaken? We got Edward Sanchez Productions in the house as always. Zachary certainly coming through. He says, reminder, folks, that there are no Beast Morphers spoilers. Absolutely right. Even though the season is back, guys, I still got a few episodes to certainly get through. And so far, I've been doing a pretty good job avoiding a lot of these spoilers. So thank you guys for not spoiling it for me. Not Ultra certainly in the house as well. Shadow Nova Productions making their presence known today. We got the A Games 10. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you in here, man. Blossom, how's it going, girl? Hope you're doing all right today. Let's see here. We got JB says this was such a good episode. I totally agree. Directed by Simon Bennett, who is now the executive producer, and written by, I just had it up here, Chip Lynn, definitely, Becca and Alwyn as well. So give them some prompts for a great episode. SD, let's go. Yes, that's right, sir, man. Definitely. Adam, I always love your way of speaking. Hey, it's just all off the top of the dome, man. All off the top of the dome. But appreciate you stopping by this Saturday, man. Hey, awesome job on the live feed that you wind up having, the live stream yesterday, man. You always entertaining, all day the least. But guys, we got a ton on our plate we're going to be going ahead and getting into. So let's go ahead and just dive into the thick of things, shall we? First and foremost, guys, Season 2, Episode 9, Beast Morphers is back. Let's talk about this. I really enjoyed this episode. I was kind of wondering after the cliffhanger that we had towards the end of the first half of season 2, I was really wondering where they were going to go ahead and jump into. And the fact that we already got Dr. K on our first episode back blew my mind. I mean, they certainly were not holding back any punches whatsoever. For me, this really just sort of sets the tone sort of going forward for the remainder of the season. I mean, they took themselves pretty seriously for the most part. I felt like they had their mission in mind, with the exception of Ben and Betty popping in here for the most part, which, while I wasn't the biggest fan of maybe the comedic skit at the beginning of those two, where you see Ben trying to drill into the freaking ice, outside of that, I thought they actually came in pretty good hand here for Devin to certainly help him out, finding the split emitters, even doing their part to set things up accordingly and not messing things up to certainly help Devin out. So while I definitely do give Ben and Betty some slack, I feel like every once in a while on how they're utilized, because I'm just not the biggest fan of the comic duo, I thought, despite maybe the little comic aspect of things, they did a really good job here this week and actually being useful and coming through for the team when they certainly needed to. So I thought that was pretty cool on their part. The only thing that really always throws me off whenever we do get Ben and Betty, why do we always get that wonky sort of comedy music? Boom, ba-dum, bing, bum, bing, bum. Like, what? Like, you go from like a serious conversation with the commander talking, yeah, we've got this brand new hyper freeze bow arrow, and here's our plan that we're gonna do, and then Ben and Betty, boom, and I'm like, it just really kind of takes me out of the scene. It just feels, I don't know, it just comes out of nowhere and just cuts through just the vibe and the tone that they've kind of set for the episode, and just kind of throws me off, unfortunately. But once that's out of the way, the rest of this episode is just straight through, man, and I absolutely loved it. So let me go ahead and pull up my notes here, because I did want to go ahead and take some notes. So we do see here that the commander is in fact shutting down the morphing grid to avoid Evox getting his hands on it. Apparently Evox is super dependent on it, on the idea of Morph X, because of the fact that now that he has human DNA spliced with him, it is currently weakening him. So Nate does come up with this great idea for a hyper freeze arrow, which he has in fact combined a couple of the blasters that they wind up having here to create the Beast X Ultra Cannon. And I will say this, Abraham Rodriguez, who plays Nate, he actually did go on Twitter, and just to remind everybody that this weapon was the heaviest prop that they've had on set, sort of thing. You could see Abraham just struggling to kind of lift it up and get it ready to aim at Evox. So no joke, he definitely isn't playing around. It definitely seems like it's the heaviest prop that they really have. So his idea is his plan is to freeze Evox in place, but you know there's going to be some pushback towards that particular plan, right? What happens to Mayor Daniels? And this is exactly where Devin certainly comes in. And I continue to love the relationship between Devin and Mayor Daniels here. I think they've been doing a really good job of just pulling at heartstrings when it comes to Devin, especially with the realization that his father is Evox. As his son, you clearly know he's going to do everything that he certainly can do to save his father. And the idea of just freezing the Evox in place kind of leaves a big question mark to Devin, like, well, what about my dad, right? So I love the fact that there is sort of an added tension between the team here. The fact that Devin's like, have you guys completely forgot about the idea that my father's trapped in here? Well, you've got Nate, who I'm pretty sure has a ton of stress on him also to kind of come up with some answers from the commander, from Grid Battle Force, like, hey, we need ourselves a plan here. So I love just that added tension. Like, I don't think Nate's like a complete dick when he's just like, oh, well, you know, I've been busting my ass, you know, so many. He didn't say that. Good. If Nate said, man, I'm busting my ass on Nickelodeon, bravo, Abraham, that they even let you slip in that line. But that's definitely not the case here. But I get the idea of Nate being stressed, like, hey, man, I've been working hours to try and come up with this plan, and I can't think of anything else at this time. So I certainly get the tension between those two, but the tension is always there where they're very understanding of each other, right? Like, even towards the end, when the plan is ready to go ahead and happen, and everybody's got to leave to go ahead and find Evox at, I think it's Morphex Tower 5. I think it is important that even before they leave to go on this mission, they do stop and just talk to Devin and be like, hey, we have our plan, but do you have an alternative plan, right? So I like the idea that they're at least open to it. They at least give him the time that he needs to kind of come up with his plan. So I really did love that addition to this week's episode. The idea that there is tension among the team, but everybody's very much understanding and on the side of Devin, like, hey man, this is our last resort. But if you've got an answer, please, come through with it. Come through with it. I will say this: I did think that the plan at first was a little wonky. Like the idea that they put out like this tanker full of Morph X. And then when Blaze and Roxy come in, they take it. And then we've got Commander like just out loud talking about the idea like, oh, the Morph X Tower 5 is completely full sort of thing. I'm like, why are you telling the whole world your plan here? Now Scrozzle absolutely knows it. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, Adam, you're just an idiot. You got to let things play out, Adam. You got to let things play out. They don't seem as stupid when you go back and realize, oh, it was actually all a decoy the entire time. This is part of the plan itself. So it actually worked out for everything. Listen, quick honorable mention, guys. Great original fight sequence here between Steel, Nate, and along with Blaze and Roxy. All original footage. They really highly pushed that in here, with the exception of maybe like the Zoe, Ravi, and Devin using their power-ups to go ahead and face off against Bulldozer Guy, and then the Zord battle. Everything else, for the most part, was original footage. So I definitely did appreciate that. Speaking of Devin here, besides the fact that I absolutely love the relationship that they've built between him, especially going back to just some of the flashback sequences from season 1 of the mayor and Devin working alongside, having that father and son sort of time, just pulls at the heartstrings, man. Like if anything, you just really want Devin to certainly succeed in saving his father. And I honestly did not expect that to happen this early. Well, I can't say it's this early, right? I mean, it is the beginning half of season 2. So we are pretty much in the middle of things as of right now. So it certainly makes sense, but I definitely enjoyed just those flashback moments, building up that emotional level for the payoff towards the end of this episode, where we do see that it winds up happening. But this is where we get our crossover finally with Dr. K. It was one of those things I felt like everybody kept asking me, Adam, like, are we getting Dr. K? Like, nobody's talked about it. They didn't hype it up in promotion. They definitely didn't do any marketing for it, really kind of making it sort of as a surprise. We had been seeing a ton of stuff come out for the Dino crossover, but the one aspect of news that we had heard nothing about was Dr. K. But Olivia Tennant is in fact back in this episode, and I absolutely loved it. This, for me, from the Dr. K crossover here to just the Power Ranger vault that we wind up seeing Nate having. I love what this show has just done in regards to bringing everything sort of full circle. I'm a big sucker of continuity, connectivity. So things of like what they've done in the MCU, seeing what they've done from just Boom Studios and things like that, from creating all these dimensions, interlacing things together. I love that type of stuff. That's what really gets me nerding out, to be quite honest with you. So to see Dr. K and Devin doing his research, right, trying to figure out ways to help his father, going back decades, finding Dr. K's information, even bringing up Dylan, the Black Ranger from RPM and stuff. I thought it was so cool, just for even Devin talking to Ravi, saying like, hey, we haven't heard from Dr. K in over a decade, which makes sense considering the fact that RPM came out in 2009, and that would have been 10 years ago when this particular episode was actually filmed in 2019. So I love the fact that they're at least keeping the time frame here in according to when the series itself was actually released. So that was pretty cool also. But just to see the conversation between Dr. K and Devin, her even bringing up past Dino Charge episodes, right? Mentioning Xeno Wing and Doom Wing and how they were in fact split apart or separated with the split emitters and stuff like that. I truly loved just hearkening back to all the past seasons of Power Rangers, and not just referencing them, but also giving us some great goodness and just Easter eggs to kind of point out in this episode with the Power Ranger Vault. I thought it was so cool to see just past blasters and morphers. I mean, from MMPR blasters to the Ninja Steel swords and blasters, Mystic Force morphers. I mean, there's so much eye candy just in this like brief 2-minute scene definitely have to go back and just rewatch it and just pick out a ton of stuff. I mean, because it was all in there, man, and I absolutely loved it. Just eye candy and fan service, and it works out. It's just one of those great ways of being able to wrap up your entire trilogy, not trilogy, but your whole entire series and franchise into one season here in Beast Morphers, and I think they've done a really good job of embracing past seasons, and making us all understand that yes, it is in fact sort of all connected. So I really enjoy that. But I want to know your thoughts, guys. If there's anything in particular that you were maybe surprised to see in the Power Ranger vault, definitely go ahead and let me know what you were certainly thrilled to see out there also. But that was pretty neat. Dr. K's cameo, brief, but always fun, right? Like I don't need, when we do cameos and stuff, I don't really need them to have that big of a presence or be around all episode long. But if they just have an important role, even if it is just for a couple of minutes, I'm completely on board with it, guys. I'm completely on board with it. So absolutely loved it, to be quite honest with you. I thought that one of my favorite shots in here was easily Evox freezing the hyper freeze arrow coming his way, doing his best sort of Kylo Ren impression. If you remember from The Force Awakens, when Poe winds up trying to shoot him with the blaster, and he turns around and he just like stops the blaster sort of mid-air. That's what this scene harkens me back to. It does make me wonder if like Simon Bennett, who's directing this, if maybe he got inspiration from that for that shot, or if maybe if the writers got some sort of inspiration from that particular scene when they were doing it, because I thought it was pretty neat to see Evox just one sort of step ahead of the Rangers to go ahead and do that. But talk about a big win for the Rangers here, for again, Ben and Betty to come through for Devin to have that sort of moment of hesitation, which clearly was just all a plan, right? But to see Evox's sort of last attempt to try and get past Devin by pretending to be, Mayor Daniels, and really again pluck those heartstrings of Devin. He thought he had the upper hand here, but clearly Devin certainly had a plan. And I do again love the fact too that Nate, despite only having that one plan in mind, is man enough and big enough to recognize who really sort of saved the day here, who really came together with the plan, and that was in fact Devin. So again, the chemistry here with this cast, I absolutely love seeing these returning faces. Were just absolutely brilliant, and I just think that they've done an amazing job with just their characters, and just really creating something for themselves, and just kind of see again the tension that was built up in here, but the understanding between these characters, I think really goes a long way in truly understanding who each of these characters are. So overall, guys, kudos to Beast Morphers for a fantastic episode, just coming out of the gates, just swinging and knocking it out of the park, guys. I was really impressed here, and to be honest with you, I cannot wait for the remainder of this season. I truly can. Again, I think this is certainly a great episode to not only begin on, but also to really set the tone as to where we're going to be going here, because it seems as though they're definitely getting even more serious, more original footage, and more original storytelling. And for me, I think that's just going to make for a brilliant remainder of the season. But guys, at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I want to know yours though. So please definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat, or if you're joining us after the live stream, in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And if anything, I'm probably going to go ahead and post this review separate, because our A+ Morphinominal episodes weekly, we do tend to go like 2 hours plus sometimes with just some of our topics and conversation and things like that. So I am going to go ahead and separate this particular review into its own video later on today, guys. So if you want to come back just to rewatch the review, you certainly can go ahead and do so on its own video, or just here in our weekly episode. So definitely go ahead and do that, guys. So again, definitely let me know your levels of excitement for the return of Beast Morphers, ladies and gentlemen. And again, don't forget, if you want to go ahead and submit your live viewer question, guys, go ahead and submit them over to aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. You can send them over today or anytime during the week, and I'll definitely go ahead and get highlighted at the end of each of our episodes. Don't mind me here. I'm just sipping on my scissor. No, this is actually coffee. What is this? No, my girlfriend went and got this for me. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's okay. It's delicious. It's delicious. That's all that matters. Let me jump into this comments real quick and see what some of you guys are saying. I just want to see. I know JB says what says he absolutely loved this episode. I do. I hate like how I'm trying to. I do this through StreamYard, and sometimes like when I'm trying to scroll through, it like jumps on me all the time. So then I got to go back. I'll get to your guys' thoughts in regards to it here in a minute. But let's go ahead and start tackling the rest of these here so that we can really dive into some deep discussion with you guys. But thanks everybody for certainly joining me today. Next up, guys, that I want to go ahead and talk about, we've got the Hasbro Pulse Con that's certainly set to go ahead and drop next week, guys. Pretty early in the middle of the week. I believe Wednesday is when the sneak peeks actually do start happening. But we actually finally have ourselves an official schedule as to when we can expect some of the panels from actually happening. So day one here, we've got on Friday, September 5th, starting at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is 10 a.m. my time. They've got Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Star Wars, and Marvel they're going to be talking about. Day two is going to be Saturday, the 26th, starting early on in the morning, guys. So wake up, set those alarm clocks, We got G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, and Ghostbusters. And to be honest with you guys, day two is really the day that I'm coming for. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, huge Marvel fan, but I really don't know like what the announcements are certainly going to be in regards to that, especially when it comes from Hasbro. So if anything, I feel like day two is really going to be the moneymaker, honestly, for a lot of us fans. But I'll keep my eye out for Star Wars and Marvel in general. But I do want to go ahead and just kind of look at what's going on here, because they did go ahead and actually release to us a brand new trailer for what's happening this weekend here. As we got our host Jackie Jennings that's going to be coming through. I mean, look at all the brands that they're going to be focusing on here, guys. I mean, I'm hoping they're really not pulling back any punches. Like, if you're telling me that you're going to be hosting a virtual convention and you're going to be talking about all these properties, I hope that they have some pretty full panels and not just like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there sort of thing. I'm really hoping that they're going to be diving deep into this stuff. An interactive event, it looks like, celebrity appearances. Now, this is something that I find really telling, to be quite honest with you. When it comes to the celebrity appearances here, so we've already got Andre from Black Nerd Comedy, who we know is going to be focusing on the Power Ranger panel on Saturday, which he's hosting. I'm kind of curious if the rest of these celebrity appearances mean something else also. So Ashley Eckstein will most likely represent Star Wars if I had to put my hands on it. So I would assume she's probably got a role to play on Friday. John Cena comes to mind here because if you recall, the last thing I remember John Cena being attached to Hasbro related is in fact Bumblebee, talking about some Transformers here. So a part of me is kind of wondering if maybe John Cena is going to be here to maybe announce a brand new Bumblebee movie. Again, one of the things that we've talked about on APlus Hero Report a few weeks back, it's been a while now since we've talked about this, but the idea that Hasbro and Paramount are working on two Transformer scripts right now. One that's rumored to be Beast Wars and another one that's rumored to be perhaps a Bumblebee sequel. So John Cena, I'm assuming that, I mean, granted, John Cena is just as popular as they come for everybody of all ages. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's just attached to this to do something random. But I'm thinking that John Cena might be attached here for Transformers. So it's getting my I don't want to say expectations up, but it's getting my hopes up that maybe he has a Transformers announcement for us. So we'll definitely see. We've got Joe Manganiello here also. Not really sure what he would be attached to. But we also have Henry Golding, who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually going to be playing. So there's John Cena. And then we've got Henry Golding, who, for those of you who don't know, he's actually playing Snake Eyes in the upcoming G.I. Joe movie. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe because of the fact that Henry Golding's making an appearance, can a brother get a teaser trailer, please, for Snake Eyes? If I'm not mistaken, I believe the movie's been wrapped, probably in post-production. I don't really know when it's even supposed to come out, but I'm really hoping that maybe some further details on Snake Eyes, since we've got Henry Golding in here. And of course, we got Ernie Hudson, who if anything, I'm assuming is probably going to be representing Ghostbusters. And we do have a new Ghostbusters movie. I think it's called Afterlife coming also. So maybe, listen, maybe I'm getting my hopes up and hoping that we're getting movie announcements or movie teaser trailers. I really don't know like the capacity of how big this Hasbro convention is certainly going to be. But again, if you're telling me it's a virtual convention that it's focusing on these properties, I gotta think that there's some other announcements outside of toys that they're going to be focusing on a little bit. But maybe that's just me being hopeful at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens there, guys. So I'm hoping for a lot of announcements, but I could be absolutely wrong. And of course, we got some musical guests in here, also Tenacious D, Fallout Boy, and Lights. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe George Jr., a fellow YouTuber who does Power Ranger content, I think he did a video yesterday. Go ahead and check out George Jr.'s work also. I didn't watch the whole video, but I did see just a thumbnail and his uh his uh his headline, his title for his video, and it was like asking a question of, will Fallout Boy do the Dino Fury theme song? Like, I don't know if that would even happen or if that's even something that they would consider, but boy, would I absolutely love that. To see them actually get like a well-known band to kind of do a theme for Power Rangers would just get me totally excited. Heck, Tenacious D, I would even take that as obscure as it certainly would be for a Power Ranger theme song. But Fallout Boy actually wouldn't be too bad. So again, I don't even know. I think it was probably just a question that maybe George Jr. Brought up just because of the fact that he did mention he was a huge fan of Fallout Boy. But it was a question that I thought was pretty interesting because I was like, you know what? I don't even expected them to even do something like that. But if they were, I would absolutely love it. But it looks like they're probably just going to do some performances here and live Q&A apparently. So we'll see what happens there, guys. Exclusive products, dozens of reveals, and so much more. When they say dozens of reveals, that's really what I'm getting at here in regards to the idea of like, hey, if we're going to be getting some reveals, I'm hoping there's some pretty big announcements in regards to television and movies, and not just simply your toy line, if you will. So guys, I'm kind of curious to know your levels of excitement in regards to that. Is there anything in particular maybe from this Hasbro PulseCon that you're really excited about or really looking forward to? I definitely would love to know that. Because for me, I really do feel like at the end of the day, we're probably, when it comes to Power Rangers at least, I'm still under the assumption here that Dino Fury cast will probably be revealed. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we get, say, like a bit of a teaser trailer, also. So yeah, that's what I'm really hoping for. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But if anything else, please, I'm also hoping that maybe a brand new synopsis, maybe a brand new like plot summary of the upcoming season to kind of give us a better understanding as to what we're going to be getting. Little things like that would certainly be helpful, certainly going a long way. So I don't know exactly what time the Power Ranger panel starts on Saturday, but consider the fact that this starts at 9 o'clock. If anything, next weekend, guys, we'll probably not only review the new episode of Beast Morphers, but if the Power Ranger panel has started by the time we do our live episode, then we'll definitely go ahead and highlight all the goodness that wind up coming out of Hasbro's PulseCon for Power Rangers. So expect next week to be kind of full. If anything, I might try and see if I can, if the Power Ranger panel hasn't come out by noon Central Time, I may try and push it to maybe 1 o'clock, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted on Twitter. So definitely go ahead and follow us on there on social media right here, APlus Opinions, guys, so we can go ahead and keep you updated. So next week's episode may be around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, just really depending on when we actually have that Power Ranger panel. But guys, again, let me know your levels of excitement for this upcoming Hasbro PulseCon. I hope it lives up to its hype, man. I really do. I really do. I think they've been doing a pretty good job, honestly, of marketing it. Within like the past 2 or 3 weeks, I feel like we've gotten some small promos here and there, brand new information that's kind of leaking out. So I kind of dig that idea. Let me get some agua too. Get that agua going, you know? All right. We got 2 more topics for you guys. Let me go ahead and knock this one out of the park real quick. Listen, I don't really watch Ultraman Z. It is something that I've been thinking about trying to get into, honestly. I haven't watched Ultraman just in general. I think that the only time that I've actually watched Ultraman, they did have a Netflix series, if I'm not mistaken, on Netflix for Ultraman. I think it was like a CGI sort of series, maybe one season, maybe like a limited series. I'm not quite sure, but definitely check it out on Netflix if you haven't gotten the opportunity. But that's really been my only connection with Ultraman outside of the fact of just knowing about Ultraman, right? Like, I mean, he's such an iconic character that I feel like growing up, I've seen plenty of him. I just haven't deep dived into that particular series and franchise before. But one of their newest series that they have is Ultraman Z currently. And I think it's actually in the middle of its season as of right now. But it seems as though, guys, this comes to us from jefusion.com that Ultraman has officially wrapped its season. Let me go ahead and actually pull this up here, guys, so we can go ahead and get into this. But this comes to us from jefusion.com. We are actually affiliated with them. If you go and check out their Facebook page, we do post all of our videos there from APlus Morphinominal, from our Caramajor reviews to our weekly shows also. But again, this comes from jefusion.com. Ultraman Z television series wraps up filming. It says the cast and set crew from Ultraman has announced in their Twitter accounts that filming for the TV series has finally wrapped up. Check out this tweet from our main hero, Koshu Haranu, who portrays the role of Ultraman Z. Let me see if I can go to this tweet of his. Let's see here. I gotta translate this stuff. It says all up. It says, thank you for your hard work. Being involved in this work is a treasure. There are more broadcasts, so please look forward to it. The second half is definitely fun. So, guys, if you have been following along with Ultraman Z, it definitely looks as though the last half of the season should certainly be pretty interesting. So, again, while I personally don't, watch this series, it is definitely something that I'm eager to maybe even get into. I've been hearing that they actually do like English subs on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. So I may get into it. When it was first announced, I think the person that brought it to my attention was Ranger Liz. I believe she's probably reviewing the season, if I'm not mistaken. But when I saw it, it definitely piqued my interest, especially the fact that they were like simulcasting or at least offering it in English subbed. It really just kind of shows to me that they are really pushing Ultraman, especially along with their Common Rider stuff out here in the States a little bit more, trying to bring more recognition to that particular series and franchise. And I don't blame them for it whatsoever. It feels as though the technology to continue to do shows like this, continue to just make it easier and everything. It looks fantastic from some of the shots that I have seen. So it's definitely piqued my interest. So I may go ahead and check it out. Maybe it's something that I'll binge once the entire season is up and running. I'm kind of curious if you guys watch Ultraman Z, though. Do you guys think that this is a series that we should certainly start looking into and maybe review at some particular point in time? If you think we should probably review it, definitely go ahead and let me know, because we already have Stuart doing Kamen Rider Saber reviews. I'm doing Caramajor and most Super Sentai stuff. I may try and talk to Indy and see if that's something that he even wants to do. I really would like somebody that is familiar with Ultraman Z. If not, that's certainly okay. The idea of maybe them learning the lore, going back and watching some old Ultraman series also in the meantime, while they're maybe reviewing the brand new show. So I don't know, maybe it's something that we'll jump into. I don't know if they've even talked about the idea of doing another Ultraman show after this. If you guys have heard any news, please let me know if you've heard anything in regards to like, hey, once Ultraman Z wraps and finishes, is there another series that they're working on behind the scenes to go ahead and dish out? Like, is this going to be something like a Kamen Rider, like a Super Sentai that passes on the baton to a brand new season? I don't know how Ultraman works in general, or if this is like one of the few series that they've dropped it in quite some time. I'm not quite sure, guys. So let me know how it works out. When this ends, do they have something else lined up? I haven't really seen anything else, honestly. But I am kind of curious to know if you guys certainly have also. So again, guys, it looks as though Ultraman Z has officially wrapped its production. So if anything, you definitely look forward to them working in post-production, getting the rest of the season ready to go, as it looks as though they probably have hit their halfway mark already. So if you guys have been watching Ultraman Z, definitely let me know your thoughts on it. And is it something that you certainly recommend? Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Because again, these are just our A+ opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours, guys. I want to know yours. So please go ahead and let me know your thoughts in regards to that. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, our last topic for the day before we get into your live viewer questions and before I just jump into the comment section and start talking with you guys here, let's get into some Boom Studios talk, because I feel like it has been a minute since we've had a comic book to go ahead and break down and review for you guys. Since the I feel like since we don't have Go-Go Power Rangers anymore, there is like a big hole or a big gap sort of in our Power Ranger comic books that I need filled every once in a while. You know what I mean? And it seems as though we have a comic book series that's on its way, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Drakkon New Dawn issue number 2 that is certainly on their way. And this is a series that I've really been enjoying, honestly. The return to the Coinless universe has been really fun for me, just because of the fact that it does feel very much like a brand new chapters taking place with Lord Drakkon kind of in his own storyline now, if you will, in the main titles outside of the Coinless universe, to be able to go back and explore just really a new future for that dimension, if you will, and what it's certainly going to look like going forward is definitely a brand new status quo for the Coinless universe. So when I look at these brand new series, for me, it just enriches me with like, what kind of brand new ideas are they going to come up with, right? Like, how are they going to push this storyline going forward? And I think they've been doing a really good job so far about it, guys. So if you are interested in getting into just what's going on in the Coinless universe, I would recommend the Ranger Slayer one-shot comic book that showcases Kimberly Hart returning to Ranger Slayer, returning to her universe, and then beginning the Lord Drakkon New Dawn miniseries. Now, this miniseries is only 3 issues. They did come out with issue number 1, which I thought was a really great kickoff point, but this is in fact going to be episode or issue number 2, I certainly should say. This comes to us, let me see, where did I get this article from? Oh, this comes to us from Ranger Command. They went ahead and actually did an exclusive preview here. It says news, exclusive first look at Power Rangers Drakkon New Dawn. A mysterious unknown ranger revealed in New Dawn number 2. It says discover the shocking consequences for Kimberly Hart in the Lord Drakkon's universe. Let's see here. It says still reeling from the shocking discovery held deep in the heart of Drakkon's prison tower deadlock, Kimberly unknowingly triggers Drakkon's final failsafe, sending a message deep into space that will ultimately put Kimberly face to face with an enemy even more powerful than Lord Drakkon himself. Will the unknown ranger she freed help her or stand against her? And what exactly is hidden behind that mask? And then they have some fantastic sort of shots here, really previewing what we can certainly expect from the issue. So let me go ahead and bring this up here real quick for you guys. This is the some of the New Dawn preview. If you want to go ahead and check that out, I really love the look of this. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to be a fan of the artwork going into this, but it's been rather impressive, honestly. I thought that they've done a really good job, especially with the idea of a brand new writer. You know, I was kind of hoping that maybe Ryan Parrott was going to go ahead and be involved in this, but considering the fact that he's really the setup guy, right? He sort of sets everything up for you in the the Ranger Slayer one shot, and he lets somebody else certainly come along and jump off that particular story and really bring their own vision and storyline to the series, and one that I'm really looking forward to. Now, no, that's definitely not a clip door in these particular preview shots, but it is a mysterious new enemy out there that I am really interested to see how she's certainly involved in things. But for me, the big mystery will in fact be who is the mysterious unknown ranger that's sort of locked away or was locked away in the Deadlock Tower. Now that Ranger Slayer has freed them, if you will, they haven't quite revealed to us yet as to who that unknown ranger is. I mean, I've been speculating for quite some time now. I know you guys certainly have been also as to who could potentially be under that iron mask. I've heard a couple suggestions that it could possibly be Jason. The idea that I believe the storyline for the Coinless universe was that Jason was killed, but I don't know if a body was ever certainly found. And, you know, I feel like the one rule of hey, if there's no body, they're probably still alive, sort of thing. So if nobody found a body for Jason, maybe that is in fact him. The only reason why I really like that theory is just simply because of the fact that the way that unknown ranger talks, it feels very much like he has been a leader in the past, somebody that has had to come up with like plans to go ahead and bring down enemies, having to kind of be in sort of that leadership role. It seems that they certainly know a lot, and there definitely seems to be a really personal sort of connection between that character and Lord Drakkon. So the question remains, who is in fact in there? Is it another version of a Tommy? Is it Jason under there? Who do you guys certainly think that unknown ranger is that was trapped in Deadlock by Lord Drakkon? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts. But I'm eager to see where this goes. I love the dynamic here between all three of these women, honestly, especially when it comes to Ranger Slayer and Scorpina, considering the fact of Scorpina's mindset of her really being sort of a villain who's now, I don't want to necessarily saying trying to change her ways, but she's trying to play nice. And sometimes that works out for her, sometimes it doesn't. But I love the fact that she's very much sort of a wild card, that she still does things for her own self, right? The way that she certainly wants to, but she is definitely walking sort of that fence of, all right, maybe I'll follow along with what's going on here, see how this kind of turns out. In regards to her forces and Ranger Slayer's forces working together. But you still get that sense of like, if things don't necessarily go the way Scorpina certainly hopes or thinks that it will, that she could kind of become rogue and maybe do her own thing if she certainly wants to. So I am really loving the dynamic that the return of Ranger Slayer has really made for this Coinless universe, and really putting Kimberly Hart in a position that, one, she certainly doesn't want to be in, but is certainly trying to use her power and leverage to kind of change the world as she knows it a little bit, right? Trying to gain this camaraderie between all these enemy forces, and really just kind of leave what Lord Drakkon has kind of turned this world into, and really trying to make it something brand new. So I've been loving it so far. I think they've done a really fantastic job. And to me, when I look at the comic books, I just love the idea that it feels like Hasbro and Boom Studios at least has a plan of the storylines that they certainly want to tell. And the fact that Hasbro gives Boom Studios and all these writers such a long leash to kind of play with all these characters just really gives me hope. And it tells me that Hasbro loves what Boom Studios and these writers are certainly doing. And I really can't wait to see what the future certainly holds. So guys, if you haven't read the comic books, I highly recommend that you do. Again, Ranger Slayer one-shots are a great place to start, and Lord Drakkon New Dawn if you're looking to get into the Coinless universe storylines. And don't forget, this upcoming, I believe it's November, maybe end of October. I believe it might be November. I can't remember. We do have a brand new line of Power Ranger comic books starting also. So again, if you're looking to try and get into it and you want a fresh jumping off point later on this year, guys, we're getting Mighty Morphin #1 and Power Rangers #1. So definitely look out for that, because we're currently building up to that stuff right now with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series that we have going on. So really great stuff that's happening over in regards to our Power Ranger world on Boom Studio. So definitely go ahead and check them out. So definitely let me know your thoughts though, guys. Are you excited for New Dawn issue #2? I'm trying to, I forgot to see if it gave me a release date as of yet. I'm assuming because the preview came out this week, it's probably going to be coming out this upcoming Wednesday on New Comic Book Day. So definitely go ahead and check out your local comic book stores also, guys, if you get that opportunity. Let me see if I've got any. I'm just gonna check my. The one thing that I hate about Gmail sometimes is that I feel like it doesn't uh, load when I want it to. You know, like I'll reload it, but I never. Sometimes I feel like I may not even get updates o- when I want them. Let me see if I can. Maybe if I jump onto the Wi-Fi here, let's see what happens when I jump on the Wi-Fi. Hopefully, I don't mess this up, guys. I've been on this Eminem kick lately. I don't know if you guys have. I don't know if you guys love Eminem, but I'm a huge Eminem fan. I've been on a huge kick. Like I went to his YouTube page and it's just been on shuffle like the past 2 days. For those of you who don't know, just a little bit of tidbit information for me. So I'm half black and half Puerto Rican. People are wondering, Adam, what are you? Because I get that question like all the time. People could never like just see my complexion. I get mistaken for like Middle Eastern all the time. Like people just don't even know what I am. I've literally had people say, "What are you exactly?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean like what am I mixed with?" So, but I grew up in New York and New Jersey, so I'm very much an East Coast guy. But considering the fact that I grew up in the '80s, I was raised in New York, in Bronx and in Brooklyn, the boogie down Bronx, baby. So I grew up over there in the '80s. And lived up in New York, lived up in New Jersey. I didn't move here to Texas until like 2002. So I was like 18 or so. So half of my life so far, I've spent in on the East Coast, and half of my life here, I've been in Texas. So I've been very much an East Coast guy. And back in the '80s and '90s, we definitely had East Coast versus West Coast, and I grew up on like hip hop, R&B, rap, classic soul sort of thing. And so I definitely grew up in the time period where Eminem kind of came out of nowhere and sort of just changed the game for everybody. So he's been a pretty big influence, honestly, in regards to like, especially in his later years where he just checking out some of his music and stuff, some pretty inspirational stuff that's really kind of helped inspire me and just kind of push away any fear, if you will, to even get into YouTube or to do anything that I personally just want to do. Right. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things that holds people back from really embracing what it is that they want to do in life is the idea of fear, right? The idea of, worrying about what other people are going to think about you or make fun of you, or maybe not understand what it is that you're personally trying to achieve. And that can be scary. But I definitely have had some great inspirations in my life. And honestly, Eminem is definitely one of those people to kind of give you that passion and strength to just be like, you know what? F them, man. F them. Do you at the end of the day. Do you and just create what you certainly want to create for yourself. It don't matter what other people think. So always remember that, guys. Always remember that. I've had plenty of people in my life certainly be influential and certainly help me along those ways. But sometimes when I'm really down or I really need that inspiration, sometimes you just want to put up that middle finger, man, and just say, you know what? Screw being afraid. I'll throw on some Eminem and we just go at it. You know what I'm saying? We just go at it. So but I love all different types of music, but I'm a huge Eminem fan. Let's see here. So I don't see any questions or emails as of yet, but I do know that I did get a couple comments from over on our YouTube page. So not our YouTube page, from our where did it go? Let me see if I can pull this up here, guys. Give me a second. Just go at it. So, but I love all different types of music, but I'm a huge Eminem fan. I'm trying to see where this question went, guys. Give me a second. Johnny, where did your question go? I literally had it earlier on today when you sent it to me. Was it Johnny that sent me the question? Who sent me this question? I'm so unprepared. Adam, come on. Dude, I don't know where it went, man. Yeah, I don't know where it went. I literally had it up and ready to go. Major fail, Adam. Major fail. That's okay. Let me jump into this live comments with you guys. If you can submit it again, I know you had like 3 live viewer questions. If you are still around, can you please submit it again? I apologize about that, man. I literally had it pulled up. All right, let's go jump into these comments with you guys. We're going to get into the live viewer questions today. So let's go ahead and do this, guys. Let's see here. Let's see here. We got the A Games 10 says today's episode was pretty good. First off, kind of surprised that right before the episode actually started, they used a 3-second lightning bolt thing with the PR tune. Oh, did they really? I watched it on Facebook. I watched it on Facebook because I'm not getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, guys. I'm just not. I'm 37-year-old man. I need my sleep. So I'm not getting up that early. So I did actually watch it on Facebook. During this time of the year, it is great because of the fact that all these episodes already technically aired during the summertime. So what I did was I just went ahead and went to one of the Facebook pages that I knew had already aired them. This was like back in June when this episode was aired, but I actually watched this episode like Friday night so I can go ahead and get the thumbnails and everything ready for today's episode. So I don't believe the Facebook page highlighted that. I think it literally just starts the episode off and then ends it with the mid credits in between. So I didn't really see anything that I might have missed that extra 3-second lightning bolt that you're talking to the A Games 10, but I'm really glad that you like this episode. I really am. If there is anything that surprised me though, I can't say it surprised me. The official Twitter page, I believe, went ahead and uploaded and the YouTube page uploaded a clip from this episode of the Power Ranger Vault beforehand. I think they dropped it like Thursday or Friday to get people anticipated for the upcoming return of Beast Morphers. I was kind of surprised that they utilized that particular clip, right? Because I felt like super fan servicey. I thought maybe they would want to hold off on letting people actually watch the episode to see that. But I think but come to think of it, now that I think about it, even though maybe like I don't want to say it was spoilerish, maybe it was kind of spoilerish for some people. If you are going to be building up any anticipation for the Beast Morphers episode, that's probably a great clip, to be honest with you, to certainly showcase the people. Because if I saw that clip, I'll be like, damn, maybe I should watch this week's episode for sure. Shadow Nova says, yeah, I can't stand the Ben and Betty music either. Boopity bumping bumping boom. I don't even know if that's how it goes, but it's so ridiculous sometimes. Like it really just cuts into like, hey, you know what? I want to set up this serious tone and atmosphere for this week's episode, and then bumping up, bumping bump. I just, yeah, not the biggest fan of it, man. Like the rest of the musical score for the season, for the series is great. It's just whenever they come in, it's like, do we really got to use this dopey ass music? Zachary says, I saw the episode. I believe that now I have fully seen Beast Morphers. The rest of the season makes more sense. I loved what I saw. That's fascinating to me, Zachary. So you missed this episode, but you finished watching the remainder of the season. Some clarity on that would be great. But I'm glad that it now makes sense to you. I'm glad that it now makes sense to you. What's going on, Anita? Good to certainly see you. Appreciate you stopping by today. Thank you very much. Johnny Marrero certainly coming through. What's going on, Johnny? Get him a body bag. Yeah. I actually just started watching Cobra Kai last week, and I'm actually really enjoying that series. I did not expect it to be as good as it was, but I watched episode 1, and next thing you know, I'm like episode 2, and I'm like, damn, where's episode 3? And next thing you know, I'm on like episode 5. It just went by so quick. I was like, this is actually a lot better than I thought it was. Jessica, what's up, Jessica Fryman coming through? What are you looking forward to seeing in the rest of Beast Morphers? And I like the idea of a female Green Ranger and Dino Fury next season. That's right. So we haven't had anything officially announced yet, but the speculation currently going around from the Illuminati is that they did go ahead and showcase to us their speculation of the Dino Fury cast, which showcased 3 males, 2 females. And if you recall, Real Soldier, the Real Soldier from the Super Sentai counterpart has 4 males and 1 female. So potentially we could have ourselves a gender swap here. And I think people are leaning towards the idea of it being the Green Ranger, presumably played by Alexandra Nunez, who I'm really looking forward to. She practices Muay Thai, and she's got a slick stroke when it comes to basketball, guys. I wouldn't want to play her on the court at all. But yeah, I do like the idea of at least getting us hopefully getting ourselves a female Green Ranger. We'll see what happens once we get an official announcement, hopefully from Hasbro. What am I looking forward to seeing in the Beast Morphers? You know, the one thing, especially after watching this episode, guys, this gives me hope that the rest of the season is really going to do a great job in just connecting Beast Morphers to past lore. The idea alone that we're getting a Dino crossover, seeing a return of Austin St. John, like it really makes me hope for build up episodes. Like I don't know what it was about this episode in particular, but I just thought it was so smart and well handled. And the idea that they're sort of even making references to past seasons and making it all fit together and things like that really shows me that they're going out of their way to make an attempt to make everything feel connected. And if they're going out of their way to do that, then I feel like maybe storyline wise they probably are going to be building up things for the remainder of this season, and maybe showcasing how it fits into the overall sort of Power Ranger lore of things. So that's what I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed for and hoping that that's what we get the remainder of the Beast Morphers, that not only do we get ourselves a strong Beast Morpher season, but they really showcase just the massive connections that this series probably will have with other series in the past, other storylines and connective tissues, if you will. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing how Beast Morphers falls in line with the franchise in general, and if they can use that momentum to build up into something like Dino Fury, to be honest with you. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, though. Dino crossover for me is really my biggest thing, and just how they're. And I think another thing, especially after watching the original footage of the fight scene with Nate and Steel and Blaze and Roxy, I definitely want to see how far they push the envelope of original footage going forward for the rest of Beast Morphers also. Johnny says, hey, Adam, saw the new episode of Beast Morphers and it was awesome. The Ranger Vault and seeing Dr. K again and the battle with Blaze and Roxy and Nate and Steel. Yeah, I really was a big fan of the fight. Yeah, Olivia Tennant coming back as Dr. K, I thought was brilliant. The fact that she didn't spoil it for anybody, I thought was pretty cool. I believe if she just had a kid, didn't she, guys? I believe she was pregnant also. One of the questions, even before we found that, like once we found out she was pregnant, I was thinking to myself, like, how are they going to make this work, right? Like, did they film this scene before she was pregnant? Is she just wearing a huge lab coat? Are they going to try and hide her belly bump? Like, I didn't even know how far along she certainly was, but it answered my question. They're like, hey, just sit in front of let's just sit you in front of a computer and a webcam. We'll just shoot you from like the chest up sort of thing. Nobody will know. And it worked out perfectly, man. So, I mean, how long did this thing take, right? Like, did they do this from home? Did she just literally have like a green screen background and they're just like, hey, let's just record you saying a couple lines? I have no idea how they filmed it, but I thought it was pretty cool to see the return of Dr. K in here as well. Not Ultra says a great episode. The continuity nods. This episode was great and very unexpected. I love how proactive the Rangers were hunting down Evox. Dr. K was completely unexpected, and I thought they made great use of her. The split emitters was also a really cool nod to Dino Charge, and just overall a really good episode. I agree with you, man. For me, when it comes to Dr. K, so, I talked about the idea of things that I was spoiled on. Two out of the three things that I was spoiled on was in this episode: the Dr. K return and the Power Ranger Vault. I just recall seeing a shot of Dr. K on the computer screen, and I remember seeing a still photo of the vault also. So those were the two things. So for me, I was expecting maybe some of this to be like spread out through the season. So for me, it was really unexpected and a great surprise to come into the return episode and be punched in the face with both of these spoilers for me in the first episode, because now I look at the rest of the season like, what is going to happen? I really have no idea. So for me, that definitely is great. And I thought this was a great episode to return to, for people like, all right, well, let me just see what the last half of the season is going to be like. Because if this is the episode that they watched, I'm hoping that they certainly stick around for the remainder of it. But I'm really glad that you like the episode, Not Ultra, especially the connectivity of the continuity here that we wind up having. Oh, and to finish off, I'm sorry, you did have another. We said on just the amount of references they had to past season, that was something missing out of the Neo Saban era and was present in the Disney era. And I'm glad it's back for the Hasbro era. Yeah, I feel like Hasbro, I'm hoping that maybe they studied some of the things that people loved about the Disney era, maybe some of the things that people haven't been enjoying about the Neo Saban era. And I think the idea of just having references and making those things connective to the continuity, I think is brilliant. I really do, because for me as a Power Ranger fan, it makes me feel like all the time that I've spent in watching past seasons, that you guys have spent watching all these seasons, is really coming to fruition, right? Like, is really coming in hand, and they're utilizing that and making you feel like, hey guys, your time isn't wasted. You watching that stuff, there's a payoff at the end of all that. And I think payoff is always important. Even JB says, I love the vault. Me too, man. Me too. Johnny winds up scoring this. The Evox snare, 10 out of 10. Yeah, if I had to go ahead and score it, give me an A plus for Evox snare. A plus this week for Evox snare. I really was impressed. And I don't know if it's John, I was just about to get into this. John, he says Chip Lynn also wrote this episode too. Yes, Chip Lynn along with Becca Barnes and Alwyn Dale wind up writing this. Would this episode been as good without Chip Lynn, or is Chip Lynn really where most of these ideas came from? Who certainly knows? But shout out to all three of them for their collaboration and putting something great together, honestly. And early shout out to Forever Grin. Also, his birthday is tomorrow on the 20th, guys. So shout out to Forever Grin on an early birthday. You think I forgot, son? You think I forgot? No, I'll probably give you a shout out tomorrow also on Hero Report. Let's see here. It says Zachary says, I don't know if I'm going to be home for Hasbro Pulse. I start a new job this week. Curious about what will happen. Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. I'm really curious too. I mean, I feel like in today's day and age with the pandemic and how everybody's going out of their way to go ahead and how everything's becoming virtual, it feels like it definitely makes sense for them to try and put something like this together. My biggest question, like, if you are putting something like this together, please don't shit the bed, right? Like, just if you're going to put something like this together and put all that effort, you better come out swinging, Hasbro. And I'm hoping we get some really great intel on some stuff going forward. Special shout out to Johnny for actually resubmitting your questions in here, man. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull this up. So he says, here are my questions. He says, one, will Evox, Scrozzle, Robo Blaze, and Vargoyle get Lightning Collection figures after Beast Morphers 2 ends? I thought I don't know. I was probably just rumors or maybe fans throwing out ideas of what they would like to see. But the idea of a Robo Blaze and a Roxy double pack, I think, would be really cool. I think that would be really, really smart. I don't know if they're going to focus on the idea of supporting cast members for Lightning collections, but considering the fact that Blaze and Roxy really are, I mean, as prevalent to this show, really important, I would love to see a combo pack between Blaze and Roxy. I feel like we've probably gotten them already, maybe in their original forms, but I would love to see like an upgraded double pack between those two. Evox and Scrozzle, I can see Evox. I don't think we're going to get anything Vargoyle, and I feel like if Scrozzle, probably on the fence with that one. I don't know. If anything, I think the three would probably be Blaze and Roxy and maybe Evox, but I would love to see Cooley Campbell get a Scrozzle Lightning figure. I really would. He says, do you believe Dino Fury will be more story driven, just like Beast Morphers? Yes, I do. I'm really hoping that with Dino Fury really being sort of Hasbro's to do what they will with, and not necessarily have to worry about what sort of was handed to them by Neo Saban, I'm really hoping that they're gonna showcase just their style of storytelling and really give us something unique that is story driven. So yes, I do think that that's how Dino Fury will in fact be. And then last but not least, you say, will Beast Morphers get a complete DVD release? I think so. Yes, I think so. Even though things are moving towards more digital, I do hope that they do wind up coming out with an actual release. So thank you very much for those questions, man. I appreciate you resubmitting those to me. Mm, 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 mm. Where did I leave off? I hate when I like jump ahead and now I got to go back and try and find. Let's see here. Cody, what's up, Cody? Good to see you, man. He says, I mean, I guess they're celebrities. I mean, hey, to some people they certainly are. Like, as a Star Wars fan, I think Ashley Eckstein is a celebrity. I mean, granted, she only really voices Ahsoka Tano, animation wise, but she does have a really great apparel line, her universe for Star Wars fans and things like that she's done. So yeah, Henry Golding, definitely John Cena, even though you can't really see him. I mean, I guess he's a guess he's a celebrity. Shadow Nova says, "What if John Cena's in Dino Fury? Yo, can you imagine John Cena being like a mentor?" No, thank you though. No, thank you though. Shadow Nova says, "Why does everyone think Fallout Boy is doing a Dino Fury? Does everybody think that? I mean, I don't think that, but I literally just saw George. I think George Jr. on YouTube. He just had a YouTube video last night. He was just simply asking the question, right? He wasn't. I don't think he was saying yes, it's going to happen. I think it was pretty much just out of hope and dream of it certainly happening, right? But that's the only person that I've seen talk about it. I don't know if there was any other news or information to kind of tease that idea of Fallout Boy doing the Dino Fury theme. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It would be pretty cool. I like the idea of them branching out and bringing a popular, bringing a popular, you know, group to actually do the song. Would that technically, like, would Fallout Boy technically be the most popular group to do a theme song for Power Rangers? Definitely go ahead and let me know, guys, because I don't recall anybody else. Not Ultra says, two issues that I did have: Ben and Betty, which was pretty much the normal complaint of Beast Morphers. And then two, I feel like there should have been more build up to the relationship between Devin and his father, because up until at least season two, I feel like the impact of Devin's father also being Evox wasn't made as big of a deal as it should have been, due to the lack of interaction between Devin and his father for the majority of first half of season two of Beast Morphers. I wish there was more interactions between the two before the reveal split, but that isn't a huge complaint of the overall episode. I definitely get what you're saying, Ultra. I definitely get that. I mean, for me, that definitely the build up probably came very much in season one, which I really enjoyed. Like the idea of seeing, you know, Mayor Daniels even go into the subdimension, if you will, to go ahead and save his son. I thought those were some really great moments of Devin and his father. So season one, I felt, was probably maybe laying that groundwork for something like this. But I get what you're saying, right? The idea that the season finale literally focused on the surprise, and then when we come back, it sort of immediately takes care of the problem, right? Like, it's not really stretched out. And I thought that it was going to be. I thought that we were going to get more uh, of the how is Devin going to handle his father being Evok's storyline throughout the season. So I get what you're saying, the lack of buildup for that, because it probably could have been much more impactful, right? Seeing how Devin is really struggling with what's going on, I think would have been impactful. So I get what you're saying there, not Ultra, but I feel like based off of what we did get in this episode, I thought it was well handled, but I definitely understand the idea of like, let's let's draw this out a little bit, right? Let's make this worth it, if you will. So I definitely get what you're saying. They're not ultra, not a huge complaint, but I certainly see what you're saying. Sarav, what's up, Sarav? Appreciate you coming through. Says Ultraman is coming to the comics stateside through Marvel Comics. Yeah, Kyle Higgins just wrote, I believe issue number 1 came out this week or the week before. The Rise of Ultraman, I believe, is the name of the comic book series. But yeah, Marvel Comics is doing one written by Power Ranger alumni himself and Kyle Higgins. Definitely go ahead and check it out. I have not. So I that is probably something that I'm going to go ahead and check out. I did see it at my comic book store this past week. I picked it up. The artwork looks pretty great. I just didn't know if I wanted to give it a shot. But if you guys have read the Ultraman by Kyle Higgins, the first issue, what did you guys think about it? Would you recommend that I go ahead and pick up the issue? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts. But again, I think that goes also to saying that, you know, the idea that they're really pushing Ultraman here in the States along with Kamen Rider. Like, I believe James Gunn recently came out and talked about the idea of him really loving Kamen Rider. He's been a big fan over the years. For somebody as big and popular and well known as James Gunn to come out and give his stamp of approval for Kamen Rider, I think is a really big thing for the franchise, and hopefully will bring some more eyes to it. But I definitely feel as though Japan has been pushing Kamen Rider and Ultraman here out in the States lately, bringing more awareness to it. Zachary, see, you were the one that came up with that I remember hearing that Jason theory from, going back to the Boom Studios comics. You say, Zach, this is from Zachary, says, I still think the man in the iron mask is Jason. Yeah, and I love that. I do love that reference. That's what we talked about too. Is that's what it reminded me of, was the Man in the Iron Mask movie in novel. Shadow Nova says Adam is Miles Morales. Yeah, maybe if I was a little bit darker, I just got to go out and get that tan, man. You know what I'm saying? Once I get that tan, I'll look just like Miles Morales himself. I got the hair going and everything. So I don't think Miles got the beard, but I get what you're saying, Shadow Nova, for sure. Like, it's funny, you know, as a Power Ranger fan, you know, we talk about the importance of being represented, right? How Power Rangers, for the most part, for all its years, has always been a big supporter of diversity and inclusion, right? And I do think that there is something important and powerful about seeing yourself sort of represented on the screen. And for some reason, like, even though, like, I've gone to a bunch of movies, I've seen a bunch of television series and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure I've probably seen more people that look like me or things like that represented on the big screen. But I feel like it's even becoming, like, for me myself, I feel like I'm even becoming more aware of that stuff as I get older. Like, for me, when I got the opportunity to see Miles Morales on the big screen and Into the Spider-Verse, man, I can tell you, I've never felt more freaking proud in my life to be from New York or be mixed and to be sort of represented, even if it is sort of animated form. Like, I don't know. I like, for me, it makes me feel good as a person to know that somebody of color is not only getting that sort of recognition, but gaining that popularity because of who he is. And for me to be able to see myself, if you will, on the big screen, I think is really inspirational, man. And I think that's really important for everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are or where you're from or whatever your sexual orientation or gender is. I do think that there is something powerful about that because it makes you connect with somebody. And I feel like, if anything, it probably makes me feel like, while I can't stick to walls, right? I feel like if you have a platform with great power comes great responsibility. Not to be, not cliche, if you will, but I don't know. I just think there's something powerful about seeing something like that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Shadow Nova. I got the Eminem references coming back. The real Slim Shady. I like Without Me. Yeah, it's a great song, man. Great song. He says, I know how you feel, Adam. I've been bumping Kid Cudi. Yo, hey, Kid Cudi and Eminem just did a song together a couple of months back, guys. If you haven't had the chance to check it out, Kid Cudi and Eminem. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of Kid Cudi's his verse, I feel like he's probably maybe a little bit rusty, kind of coming back. But I love the beat. I love Eminem's role. I even love the ending part for Kid Cudi. But I thought it's a pretty sick beat. I really like it. I really like it. But I'm glad that you're a fan of Kid Cudi. Mm, 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 mm. Mikey, what's up, Mikey? I appreciate it. Mikey says, I'm mentally done with Beast Morphers since I've seen the overseas episodes. Yeah, hey, listen, I totally get that, Mikey. Like for me, hey, Mikey, it always reminds me of Michelangelo, man, from Ninja Turtles. I get it. Trust me, I definitely get it. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to wait. I mean, granted, I probably could have watched the overseas episodes and then watched them live with you guys, but I really wanted to just not be spoiled and sit on this and just build my own personal sort of anticipation for this series to kind of come back. Because even though I feel like I'm definitely the last person on the face of the planet that's actually seen these live, for me, it's really cool to be able to sort of share my excitement, sort of like a newbie to Power Rangers once again, if you will. Like for me, I like the idea of just sharing my excitement with you guys about what's going on. But listen, I'm sure there are a ton of people out there that have watched the overseas episodes and they're just like, you know what, bring Dino Fury on, man. Like I'm so over Beast Morphers, bring it on. But for me, I really want to kind of stick with the schedule and just get hyped for Beast Morphers. But I get you, Mikey. I'm sure you're not the only one that's ready for what else is certainly to come. So Rob says, I would like to see an LGBTQ romance for the next season. Listen, I certainly wouldn't blame you, Sir Rob. I'll be fascinated if one of our Rangers certainly are, whether it be the Pink Ranger. I don't know why I'm feeling like maybe the Pink Ranger might have that particular role this year. Who knows? I have no idea. For some reason, I think if anybody, I think it would be really cool if it is the Pink Ranger, just because of just the popularity of Pink Rangers and things like that over the years, the importance that Pink Rangers have certainly had to the team, and just their just some of the amazing actors that have portrayed the Pink Ranger and things like that. Usually, in my eyes, kind of the second in command, if you will. Like I just think it would be pretty cool if LGBTQ was in fact represented. I think we probably will, though. If I had to guess, I probably think we will. We will get that. Sexy boy AJ also says he's up. Good to see you in here, man. Appreciate it. See, now it jumps again, man. It jumps again. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Blossom says, what did you think of Mabushina's song? Going back to some Kara Major, I wasn't the biggest fan. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, honestly. That kind of stuff makes me cringeworthy. I mean, listen, the song itself, great job. Like, great voice. Congrats to the actress that sung the song. No big deal. But for me, like, I'm just not a fan of music montages or dance numbers in the middle of my shows. It feels really cringeworthy to me, honestly. And it sometimes it feels out of place. Like some shows can kind of get away with it, but for me, I just wasn't the biggest fan of it, Blossom, honestly. But hey, if you were, and some other people that were fans of Mabushina really appreciated it, that's fine. If anything, I appreciated what it meant to the overall story in regards to how Mabushina's song affected her mom, right? The idea of understanding that Mabushina's performing the song because of the fact that even though she has always been embarrassed and never really wanted to truly put herself out there, but doing that to go ahead and ease maybe her mother's a pain or worry, if you will. So I get the purpose of Mabushina's song and really the importance of how that affects the queen going forward and allowing her to realize, like, hey, my daughter went out of the way to do something that really embarrasses her or puts her in a difficult spot. I'm going to do my part now to be doubly as or twice as not worried as I certainly was before. I'll try and find that inner strength now to push through. Since my daughter did it, now I've got to do it. So I get the idea, but man, if it wasn't a little bit cringeworthy than me, like, we're getting a song in this episode, okay. That's really what it's like when that type of stuff happens. But outside of it, it wasn't bad. I get why they did it though. M, I don't know who M is, but hey, whoever M is, appreciate you coming through. Do you think Liana did her in morph stunts by herself, or did she have a stunt person? Um, civilian fighting, I'm pretty sure she does a lot. We've clearly have seen a lot of our actors here doing a lot of their own civilian stunts, looking great, mind you. I don't even know what some of their athletic backgrounds are, but they seem to very much embrace those roles. But when they are in costume, I'm pretty sure it's probably a stunt person for the most part. Um, but a part of me kind of wishes or hopes that maybe the cast sometimes gets to fight in their costumes. I don't know. I would love to ask that question. If I get the opportunity to interview Liana again or anybody else from the Beast Morphers cast, I definitely will ask that question. Like, we see you guys in civilian fights, but are there any moments where you guys are actually fighting in costume? I feel like for the most part, it's probably their stunt person when it's in costume, and clearly them um, when it's in civilian mode. But I don't know. That's a question worth asking. But if I had to guess, I would say stunt person. But they're all amazing. I feel like they're all athletic enough to be able to pull it off if they did. Sarav going to talking about some Dino Fury says, I'd rather see Ivan as a mentor in Dino Fury. Certainly possible. I wouldn't be surprised like if we see Ivan maybe as a mentor, maybe even Brennan coming back as Tyler. I think that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing even Tyler and Shelby come back also. Like for me, you guys have known, like if I do want, if I could have a mentor, it would probably be one or all three of Mighty Morphin Rangers in Amy Jo Johnson coming back as Kimberly Hart, David Yost coming back as Billy, or Austin St. John coming back once again as Jason. I would love to see maybe those three sort of being the mentors for Dino Fury. It certainly would link up great with just the color schemes that we have of our three main Rangers, right? Like we don't know what the storyline adaptation is going to be like yet for Dino Fury. We're still kind of waiting to see how much of Real Soldier they're going to adapt. But if you recall, Red, we had the Blue Ranger, and then we had Asuna as Pink. So that would fit perfectly for Jason, Billy, and Kimberly. Whether or not they pull the trigger on any of that, I don't really know, but I would love to see that. So any of those three would be great as a mentor if we do get mentor roles, but I would also be open to some Dino Charge members coming back also. But I do like that suggestion, Sarav. AJ says, will never happen, but which Power Ranger season would you like to see crossover with Super Sentai now that Beast Morphers is back? What do you think the following episode? What do you think about the following episodes? I missed when you quickly reviewed today's episode. Okay. Do I think which Power Ranger season would I like to have crossover with Super Sentai? Even though it technically wasn't a Power Ranger crossover to Super Sentai, like I was cool with the idea of Yoshi Sudarso popping up on, was it Ninja that he popped up in, I believe, because I thought because I'm pretty sure that's what they did, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was Yoshi Sudarso that made an appearance on the Super Sentai episode. Was it Super Sentai episode of Ninja that he popped up in as a cameo? I feel that it was, or did he come into Ninja Steel? I don't believe that. I can't remember how it was, but I feel like that for me, that was perfect. I don't necessarily need another season crossing over with Super Sentai like that. The Yoshi Sudarso stuff that they pulled, I thought was perfect, honestly. Yoshi Sudarso says, I seen this other channel called The Fan Club, and they mentioned Fallout Boy 2. Johnny says yes to Fall Out Boy to do the theme song for Dino Fury. Again, guys, I just want let me just pull this up. Again, there is just nothing out there that I've read that has confirmed that Fall Out Boy is doing Dino Fury. Johnny clearly is saying yes to the idea of them doing it. I say yes to that idea. But again, I don't think that there's anything out there saying Fallout Boy is going to be doing the theme. If there is, guys, send me a link or something to a reliable source that is in fact saying that they are going to be doing it, but I haven't heard anything. I feel like people are just maybe running with this idea because they say, hey, live performances over at the Hasbro Pulse Con sort of thing. It would be cool. I just don't know if Hasbro has that type of pull to be like, hey, Fallout Boy, let's work together and do a Dino Fury theme. I think it would be stellar. I want to see it. I just don't know if it would happen. You know what I mean? So we'll see, guys. Just don't run with it. I don't want you guys to be like, hey, we heard from APlus Morphinominal, Fallout Boy. No, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying. So we'll see what happens, though. But I think it would be cool. M says, do you think Blaze and Roxy are portrayed too weak in battles? They used to not be. They used to not be in season 1, but again, because of the fact that we got season 2 here and they're just robo counterparts, we can just dismiss them as easily as we want to. And there was a perfect example of that here in this episode. So season 2, yes. And even Shadow Nova agrees. He says season 2 Blaze and Roxy, yes. So season 2 Blaze and Roxy, yes, has been weak. And again, it's just because of the fact that now they're just, we can do whatever we want with them, right? There's no risks. There's no storyline that matters at this point. They're just useless sort of drones, if you will. Where season 1 handled them extremely well. Season 2 is now they're just like, they're disposable. They're disposable. I'm still kind of wondering where human Blaze and Roxy are. I'm crossing my fingers. Oh, somebody did ask me, what am I hoping for the remainder of Beast Morphers season 2? For me, it's definitely showcasing more human Blaze and Roxy. I hope that they have a pivotal role or come back maybe for 1 or 2 episodes this season to showcase the idea of, hey, they're not as worthless anymore. So because again, I still think they should have kept with their season 1 storyline of, you know, Blaze and Roxy instead of the idea of what they did for season 2. Like, I just think it was, I don't want to say pointless, but now they just kind of undermined the importance or the effectiveness of these 2 characters, of just not making me have to worry about them or finding them as formidable foes, like, at all. It's like the least of my worries now, to be honest with you guys. So again, my idea for that was always, when they infiltrated Grid Battle Force, I would have loved them to have downloaded sort of their evil consciousness into their real bodies so that when they were awake, while they were the human versions of Blaze and Roxy now amongst us, their minds were still sort of the evil ones. And so I would have loved to have seen them trying to play sort of the sneaky undercover Evox members that are now mingling with our Beast Morphers cast, pretending to be their friends and everything all right, but still working behind the shadows every once in a while and things like that. So because for them, then it really would have made Blaze and Roxy not as dispensable, still having to worry about the idea of how do we save our friends, you know, now that they're actually humans and not avatars. We can't just destroy them. We've got to come up with a brand new way. And I think it would have added a whole new dilemma and just the dimension to their relationships with Blaze and Roxy. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. But we'll see. Again, this is just the beginning of the second half. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe human Blaze and Roxy are utilized a little bit better going forward. If not, I really do think that they kind of undercut themselves. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You Are Sexy says, I really wish Devin and Mayor Daniels had more interaction after Devin found out about Evox controlling his body. It was definitely rushed. This news was like just an episode. And just to kind of go back to what you were asking before, right? Like, how did I like this week's episode? I really enjoyed it. I don't think that there was anything that was really too terrible about this week's episode. The Ben and Betty stuff in the beginning kind of really interrupted sort of the tone and a vibe of the episode, if you will, like, because they kind of really came out very much on a serious, like, hey, this is the mission, this is what we have to do, and then bumping, Ben and Betty come in and they act a fool, and we get the wonky music of theirs, and then it's like, all right, let's get back to business. It felt a little bit out of place, but I did love at the end of the episode, just the importance of Ben and Betty coming through and actually doing their job. But overall, I thought this episode was spectacular. I mean, to come back to punch us in the face, not only with a Dr. K connection, but also the connective tissues to past seasons, references to RPM and Dylan, to Xeno Wing and Doom Wing from Dino Charge and the split emitters. I just thought it was brilliant of really showcasing us that, hey, Beast Morphers does play a pivotal role in this season. See how connected it is to the rest of the Power Ranger franchise, and let's see what else they certainly have in store for us going forward. So, and again, not only that, but I really continue to love the relationship between Devin and Mayor Daniels. You can clearly see the emotion from Rory, who plays Devin in here, the idea of trying to save his father at all costs. So I get the idea of what you and Not Ultra are saying about the idea of wanting that worry of Devin to be drawn out a little bit longer in the season instead of resolved in just sort of one episode. I definitely get it. But for me, I was okay with it simply because of the fact that they do harken back to some flashback sequences from season one. And I think season one was really a build up to this particular moment also. But I get what you guys are saying. So not too many hiccups in this season, in this episode, for me at least. But I definitely get what you guys are saying. But overall, I was really, really pleased, honestly. Now Ultra says, I'm still waiting for your Go Buster reviews. You have 12 episodes left of both Beast Morphers and Go Busters, so it would be nice for you to finish those reviews off before Beast Morphers ends. Yes, I do plan on it. I think we're definitely going to go back to the idea of 2 episode reviews for Go Busters a week. What episode did I leave off on Not Ultra? Am I on episode 40 now? Where am I at? I can't remember where I left off at, simply because of the fact that on our old page, all of our content is gone now, guys. So I can't go back and find it or anything like that. But I will finish off the Go Buster reviews for you guys. I'm just trying to come up with brand new overlays, brand new representation for our reaction videos, if you will, because I think that I am still going to do it reaction wise. But if anything, I'll probably just have like a timestamp so you guys can certainly follow along with me while I'm watching the episode. It is gonna suck if when I want to like stop and pause it to kind of talk with you guys a little bit, because then I'm gonna have to pause the episode and pause the timer. But it should be okay. It should be okay the way that I want to go ahead and do it. But yes, we will be doing that. Going back to Eminem and Kid Cudi, says, I feel like Cudi takes more of a back seat in the song. Yeah, he definitely does. I feel like Eminem was like, you know what, Kid Cudi, you're back. Let me, maybe you're a little rusty. Let me go ahead and carry this song for you for the most part. And yeah, I definitely feel like he took a back seat. Forever says, we're already hoping Fall Out Boy to do the theme song. Look, guys, I certainly hope that you guys can hope all you want to for Fall Out Boy to do the theme song, but please just do not expect it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with speculating and hoping, but don't expect it, because once you start having those expectations that Fall Out Boy is going to do the theme song, you may be disappointed, right? And I don't want people to be like, start pointing fingers at Hasbro. You promised. You said how follow up. No. So let's pump the brakes on our expectations. Nothing wrong with hoping it certainly happens, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Shadow Nova says, I'm catching up with Kara Major. I just watched the one with when Juro gets stuck with that girl that bullies him. I really like it. Oh, you're almost caught up then. You're almost caught up. I feel like you're probably not that far behind. I wasn't the biggest fan of the episode just because of the girl that bullies him is just so freaking annoying. I really could not stand it, but it was okay. It's okay. Not Ultra says, if you're not a fan of musical montage and TV shows, then I will warn you to prepare for a musical in the second half of Beast Morphers. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I know going into a show that it's a musical theme, then I'm okay with it. Like if that's the theme of the show, because listen, I've seen a few musical episodes, right? I believe it was The Flash or maybe Supergirl did one because Grant Gustin and Melissa Benoist are both from Glee, and they both have great voices, and so they've performed before. Um, so like, but I went into those episodes knowing that that was the purpose of it, right? So musical episodes don't bother me because that's the purpose of being it. Like for me, when it comes to that, now all of a sudden I become interested in what are their voices like, even though it's a musical episode, how are they going to go ahead and make this work out in regards to still sort of telling them a story? And if you were to tell me that like the cast of Beast Morphers is doing musical, considering how much fun I actually had with the Halloween special and getting the opportunity to see Zoe doing her best Viking impression, or I should say, Jacqueline Sislowski doing her own Viking impression, seeing the opportunity for Rory to go ahead and do all these different accents and characters and stuff. Like for me, that was super fun, and I really had a great time. That's probably one of the few Halloween specials I actually really enjoyed. So because of the fact that I had that much fun with that, I'm completely open to the idea of Beast Morphers trying to do a musical episode because I really want to see what these actors are all about. But the idea of just throwing in a music montage or just a performance in between the episode that I wasn't expecting, like, okay, let's see what happens. But so that doesn't bother me, which I don't know if that's weird or not, but that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. Shadow Nova says we should have Dino Charge Rangers be the mentors. It makes more sense, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. So I would be okay with that. Forever Grin says Brandon definitely wants to, and you know who else definitely wants to? David Yost. David Yost. I feel like David Yost has been talking so much about it, guys. Listen, the fact that David Yost has been talking about if he were to come back to Power Rangers, he would probably want to be in a mentorship role. Look, guys, I know he hasn't confirmed anything, but damn if I'm not hoping that David Yost is in this season. Like, I feel like because of the fact that he's been talking about it and been so open about the idea, a part of me is really crossing my fingers that David Yost will be in this season in some way or another. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad that people want to come back. I think that's really telling. Let's see here. This comes from Not Ultra. Last episode you did was episode 38, which was the episode that was adapted to the Pan Global game. So continue with episode 39. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for mentioning that, because I was like, what episode did we leave off on? So yeah, so like this overlay that you're seeing here, I'm just trying to change things up a little bit in like my presentation for um how we're doing our reaction videos, if you will. Like coming into 2 weeks episode, now that we had Beast Morphers coming back, like I created this thumbnail, or this overlay for when I start doing my reviews for Beast Morphers going forward, right? The idea of being able to pull the Rangers up there, the logo, making a nice little presentation for our reviews. I would like to do something like this to kind of set up for reaction videos. Like, I'm really bummed at the idea that I cannot put like the videos up there anymore, because Toei is just like ball busters about it, man. Like, they just get you for the littlest things. Like, even though I followed the fair use thing and edited my videos, was only using like 10 to 20-second clips at a time and then editing it, I think I don't know why it wasn't okay, or it was okay, or it wasn't okay to utilize, but Toei just doesn't care about that stuff. So I'm definitely going into the reaction videos now, just trying to kind of throw up some ideas to make it look more presentable, since we can't have the videos on screen. Like, a part of me wants to maybe throw up a 10-second clip and then take it back off in the middle of, in the middle, like in between sort of thing. But I don't even know if Toei would still get on my case for that. So I'm just trying to play it safe, guys, because it really hurt when we lost our channel. I don't want to lose another one, honestly. So I am trying to play it as best as I possibly can. So yeah, I'm just this week I will work on a better presentation for our reaction video. So because we are, if anything, going to be playing the episode, have the timestamp available for you guys, and then just reacting as I'm watching the channel, watching the episode, and just kind of giving my thoughts in the meantime while we're doing all that. So thank you for that, reminding me that episode 39 is where we leave off at. Let's see here. And also, guys, real quick, just another heads up, if you guys didn't catch this at the top of the show, if you guys have live viewer questions, feel free to go ahead and submit those going forward over to our email account at APlus Morphinominal, or I should say APlus Morphinominal at gmail.com. Now, you can submit your questions throughout the entire week if you'd like to, so that when we do jump into Saturday's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and look through those and present those live viewer questions for you guys. So if news drops, say Tuesday or Wednesday, that you definitely want to go ahead and talk about on Saturday's show, go ahead and email us, guys. APlusMorphinominal at gmail.com. You can go ahead and submit those throughout the week or even that Saturday morning, whatever the case may be. But that's probably how we'll do our live viewer questions, certainly going forward. I don't think we have anything right now. As of right now, we'll see. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think we have anything right now. But in the future, if you guys want to submit a question over, go ahead and do that. I'll check it first thing Saturday morning to make sure that we do have those up and running for you guys. So definitely, that's how we're probably going to be doing it going forward. So APlusMorphinominal at gmail.com. And let's see here. Let me round this episode off with just a couple more questions and comments that you have in the comment section box below. Let's see here. Yeah. You're Sexy, also known as AJ, says, yeah, I hate that Plant Pan Global Games episode. Whoever wrote the episode, oh, what a fail. Yeah, listen, I also thought it was a little bit of a fail in the Go Busters episode. Outside of just the fighting in the ring, I thought it was pretty cool. But outside of that, I felt like both of those episodes just kind of didn't really do too much. And now Ultra says, yes, please play it safe. Play it safe with no video clips. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do any video clips. So I'm just hoping that the reaction videos are just as impactful or gain that much viewership even without it. So I'll probably be doing reaction videos for that. And then again, watch alongs for some Power Rangers seasons. I'm just trying to figure out which Power Rangers season I want to go ahead and get into. But other than that, guys, I think that's probably going to be it for this week's episode. So everybody, thank you very much for certainly following us today and joining us for our live chat. Listen, guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, if you're looking for a brand new home or an additional home for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider stuff, anything Tokusatsu related, Ranger Nation related, guys, this is certainly another channel for you guys. So please smash that subscribe button, and most importantly, hit that bell notification, guys, so that when we do go live with our videos, you guys will certainly be notified for sure. And then join us each and every week. We've got clearly Kamen Rider Saber reviews, Kara Major reviews for you guys. We've got some reaction videos from Go Busters headed your way, some watch alongs for upcoming for past Power Ranger seasons. Also, every once in a while, we might have ourselves an interview. We've already posted our Liana Ramirez interview, our Austin St. John interview, which was a throwback from like 2014. We also just posted a Karen Ashley interview that we did back in 2014 from the same convention that I saw Austin St. John at. So definitely go ahead and check those out, guys. But our channel may be small right now, but make no mistake, A Plus More Phenomenal has been around for quite a few years. We had a ton of content on our previous channel, guys. So hopefully we'll be able to grow our community here even further. So if you love our content, guys, again, hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, and feel free to share our videos, share us around social media, because we do not grow without your guys' help as we continue to grow our Ranger Nation and Tokusatsu community, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us today. So again, guys, starting this week, if you have a question for live viewer questions next week, submit those to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. And if you want to go ahead and follow us on social media right here, guys, at @AplusOpinions. We are, in fact, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch for you gamers as well. So definitely go ahead and follow us there. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us. We'll see you next week with more content, and we will, in fact, be back tomorrow with A Plus Hero Report. So definitely go ahead and check us out on Facebook and on our YouTube page for A Plus Hero Report. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys later. So do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and of course, may the power protect you. I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it A+. Bye.